Hi, I thought I'd do a quick video showing you how I like to do my zips, because I had an email this week about that, and I want to show beginners exactly how easy it can be. So a few tricks and tips to start off with. I always use, or almost always use, longer zips. I don't know if you can see all this, but it's a really long zip. I'm using the squared pouch. There's the main pattern piece, and the other two exteriors, two lining. It's super easy. I'll show you how to do it. And the other tip is I use a really thin, don't know if you can see, a really thin foot. So my normal foot is a 1/4 inch foot. I don't know if you can see that. This has a guide on it. Sometimes I have guides, sometimes I don't. But I prefer really a thin foot. And this will get as close to the zip as you want. The other thing you could use is a zipper foot. But I just prefer this. And this is, I'm sewing on my Juki. But if you have a domestic machine, that's fine too. You can just get buy clip-on feet that are 1/8 of an inch, and that's what this is. I absolutely love it. So with this pattern, it's a pattern on my website. It's part of my basics. It's perfect for beginners, or if you're wanting to teach kids how to sew, or if you're just starting to sew with zips and you want to get started. So I'm not going to make the whole pouch, but I will show you how to do the zipper. So the first thing you want to do is iron your zip. I have not done this. So you want to press it, but not for too long, because it's plastic. Usually zips are plastic. I recommend, if you're starting out sewing zips for the first time, you want to start with a nylon zip like this. So mine is just a size 3 zip. That's a dress zip. If you're going to a fabric store, you want to look for a dress zip, size 3. You can use size 5, but I always start with a size 3 if you're beginning. So you want to take your fabric for your squared pouch, and you want to lay your exterior nice fabric. You want to lay the zip right side down at the top, and you want your zipper to be downward facing, so your zipper pull is down onto the fabric. So hopefully you can see that. And I'm just going to clip, or you could pin, but it's a lot easier clipping, and you just want to clip that along the top of that. And once you've done that, you want to get your lining piece, and you want to take the top of that, and you want to put that right side down on top of this. I'm using a calico, and so it doesn't really matter what side I put it, but you want it right sides together, so that the right side of your exterior fabric and the right side of your lining fabric are looking at each other. And we're just gonna clip that, and then you want to stitch along here. Now it doesn't really matter how close you sew it, but in my patterns I always say to sew 1/4 inch, and that's really easy to do if you have a zipper foot or a skinny foot like this one, a thin foot, a 1/8 inch, because you can easily see. You can sew a zip with a 1/4 inch foot, that's fine. It's just a little bit tougher. So I definitely recommend a zipper foot or a skinny foot. See, since I got this thin foot, I never use my zipper foot anymore, and that's why I love this, because it was a pain switching out my feet all the time. So you want to put your fabric in and put your foot down, and you want it to go along that 1/4 inch seam, the line on your machine, and you just want to sew down it, and you want to keep a good speed, not too fast, not too slow. You might need to adjust your fabric a little bit. If you sew with the lining on top like I have, it doesn't matter so much if your fabric moves a tiny bit, because the fabric, the good fabric, the exterior fabric is on the bottom, and that should stay put. And so I've sewn that. I'll show you this side. It's hard to see with the I've got the same thread in, but you can see, and you want to open that up and push it to the other side. Now at this stage you would want to press it. I'm not going to do that, but you can press it at this stage. So now if you want to put the other side on before we top stitch, that's the way I like to do it, but it's really personal choice. So what you want to do to put the other side on is to get your other right side exterior fabric and lay that down right sides together and put that on the other side of the zipper tape, just along the top. And you want to make sure that you're lining up with this fabric here. Hopefully you can see that. And just clip it. So you want to, and what will happen is this should be lined up pretty right, and then as you sew, this might move a little bit, you know, and it will line up hopefully with the end of this. Right now it's a little off, and that's probably just my clipping. Now what you want to do with the other lining piece is you want to put it right sides together with this lining piece, so that it lines up along this top as well. So I'll grab that. And I always clip and then do one side and clip and do the other side. That's just how I like to do it. Alright. Hopefully it'll all line up nicely. It's a bit out on this side, but I think that's my lining piece, not my exterior. And here. Oh. And you just want to finagle it a little bit. Make sure it gets all in place. Alright. So what you want to do also is make sure that you're sewing the same way. So I can't actually remember which way I started, but I usually sew, I sew from the zip down, the zipper pull down. Now the zipper pull is out of the way. That's just how I like to do things, so that my zips aren't wavy, because if you sew two opposite ways, you're going to get a little bit of a wave in your zip. So that's just another tip. You want to make sure you do that. This means that on this way down, we've got the exterior on the up facing us. All right, so I'm just going to place that. I've got it. My lining bit's a bit bigger, I think, than my exterior. That's okay. It's my bad cutting. So we just want to go down with a 1/4 inch seam again. Taking your time, getting it right. Alright, oh, see, I've created a little bump in my fabric here. That's okay. I can unpick that, or because this is just a sample, I'm just going to leave it for now. Normally, if you have that on the exterior, you would want to unpick it, or even in the lining, you'd probably want to unpick it. But in this case, it's not going to make a big difference because you won't see it. So we want to put our fabric pieces flat. So the lining looks like this, the exterior looks like this, and you want to flatten it out, and you want to give it a good press at this stage. Now I'm going to show you how to top stitch. Now this is optional. I do recommend it. There's two ways you can top stitch, sort of. So you're doing this so that the lining doesn't come back up through the zip and it stays put. But if you didn't want the top stitching to show on the outside, you can just top stitch the zip down to the lining. So you would go along here, and that, or this way, I should say. You could do it this way, so that the lining stays inside. Or the way I like to do it, because I think it gives a very professional finish, is I like to top stitch through both the lining and the exterior pieces through this. I always start at the zipper end, through here, both edges. So you want to press this flat, and you want to place it under. My threads come off. So you want to rethread my machine. Oh no. No. Alright, so I've got my lining and my exterior together, and theoretically I've pressed it, and if you're using vinyl you won't be able to press it, but you'd hold it so that it's somewhat taut, and you just want to go along this line. So this little seam is what you're going along. Now you can do 1/8 of an inch like I'm doing. You can do 1/4 of an inch. You could even do a 1/2 inch if you're so inclined. It's just personal choice. So I just go along, or you could even do 2 lines of top stitching. It's up to you. And using that thin foot just gets you a very nice line. So hopefully you can see I've just used that seam line just to know where to put my foot and just go along. And that way when I open my pouch, say it's like this, my lining isn't going anywhere. Whereas if you had no top stitching, you can see all the lining just wants to come up, even though it's not sewn at the bottom, but even then it would still come up. So and then you would go and do the other side, and I'll do the other side to show you how good it looks when it's all said and done. So that's what it looks like, both sides. I love this fabric, and it just looks so straight because you've used that foot. The other foot you could use is an edging foot, or the 1/4 inch foot with a little guide. the guide, I used to use this one or one on my more domestic machine. And my brother, I had a 1/4 inch foot with a guide, and I just run that guide along that edge, and I always got perfect lines. Now that is something that I get told all the time is, oh my goodness, your top stitching is so straight. And that's my trick, is to get a foot that will give you a straight line every time. So hopefully this helps, and then you can put the pouch together as you normally would. This pattern is on my website, it's on my Etsy store. It's perfect for beginners, or if you're just looking for a squared pouch pattern. And you can also make the other 2 sizes in the pattern. So this is the medium size that I'm making today, but there's a small and there's a large size as well. Alright, hope you've enjoyed. Bye.